It is Taylor Bridges. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Today I am reviewing Married at First Sight Season 16, Episode 3, Music City Matrimony. I realized in my previous videos I had the episode numbers off. I thought they were counting the two introduction episodes as like a part of the season, and they weren't. So I did go back and edit those, but if you were thrown off by the numbers, I made the fix. Pardon me for that, but this is episode 3, technically. Music City Matrimony. This is the last episode with the weddings taking place. We're finally done with the weddings after this episode, so now we can get to the real nitty gritty. This was an okay episode. It was okay. But I'm just ready to get to the real stuff, honestly. The show opens with Aries talking to his cousin Fallon. She says this is laughable, and I agree. I agree. Actually, without Jasmine's interference, just Aries alone it is laughable that he's here right now. He has no experience. We're not gonna get into it again. We all know what it is with him. He asks, "Do you have anything helpful or positive to say?" No. Actually, no. Your tux looks good. Your bow tie is cute. That's it. That's as nice as we get with this. Like, you shouldn't be here. He says he's done with the streets. I don't know about anyone else, but if on my wedding day, my man utters the words how he's done with the streets, that shouldn't even be on the... You was done with the streets before we got into a relationship and before we got engaged, let alone, the marriage, like they were getting married. Like, that's just me. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to harp on Aries like he's just this dog dude. I don't know him. We're going to see what he's given. We don't know him just yet. I'm just saying the things that he's doing, it wouldn't work for me. And Aries can continue living his life doing so. He's not my man, so I don't care. But as far as Taylor, he says he'll give his cousin a look if the bride ends up being the opposite of what he asks the experts for, and he's gonna be like, "Let's get up out of here." And immediately when he said that, I'm like, prepare to run. The experts will give you exactly the exact opposite of what you asked for. They never give people what they ask for. They never do. Because a lot of times people ask for these extreme, they want these extreme standards to be, abided by, but that's kind of hard to do with like in a blind marriage situation. It honestly is. So it's not like, I think it's easier to kind of set somebody up with what their preference is if you know they're going to date, because then if they date, that person can see themselves, are their own preferences and standards hindering them from finding real love based on, the type of men they're dating. Because if they're getting set up with the exact type of men they want and they're, failing, then they can, take a different recourse and improve. But going into a marriage is just like too abrupt and too serious right away. I think it's weird. Jasmine's dad looks so handsome. And he's very nice, well kept, full beard. They said he was a pastor. She said he's a preacher. She says a divorce is an option. And again, why come on here, Jasmine, with such high stakes? You have both of your parents in this position. Your mom just fought an illness that could have been terminal, and she's here and she's alive and she's well. That's a blessing. And then you have your dad, like he's a very religious man, a God-fearing man, a Christian, has been in your life, and this is a big deal to walk his baby girl down the aisle. You're going to use your one card. You only can have a first marriage once. You're going to really use your one card on a blind marriage? Like, why come on here with such high stakes? I feel like these shows are for people who have nothing to lose, like a Dominique, right? Which we'll get into. But it's like, that's what these type of shows are for. Those who don't have anything to lose. Like, girl, you got two parents who love you. Like, they're invested in this. Like, I just think it's too serious of a situation to be putting her parents in. I think it's too high stakes. That's my opinion. Her bridesmaids' dresses are beautiful. That mint or green, whatever type of green that was, otherworldly. It was stunning. Like, stunning. I think I think her bridesmaids probably had my favorite dresses because I know Dominique's bridesmaids, oh my gosh, looked horrible. Oh my gosh. But Jasmine's bridesmaids, they were on point. So I do wonder why Jasmine doesn't just get braces. Especially as a pageant girl, she smiles a lot, and I'm not giving shade because Jasmine is absolutely beautiful. She smiles a lot, so it's noticeable. Her teeth, and braces are like a year and a half, 2 years just to get it straight. It's like the bottom row. It's noticeable, but Jasmine is a pageant girl. She just won recently in 2021, so clearly she got something that's still very palatable and beautiful to the pageant world. So for that, look, she don't even have to take my advice. Even probably won't even hear it, but I do wonder that. Like, it's super noticeable, and she's a pageant girl, which means she's into beauty and into her looks, I would assume. You see it. Like, you need your teeth done. And she's young enough. You know what I mean? She's in her early 30s. You're going on a show. You're about to get married. Like, she could put braces, if not Invisalign, because I know everyone maybe cannot afford Invisalign, whatever. You could get braces. You can get braces. She has a beautiful smile, and she doesn't seem like somebody who needs veneers or anything. Like, it looks like her teeth with some nice braces to straighten that up. She's good to go. Her smile is beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. I'm just curious why she just doesn't get them. She looks great coming down the aisle. I noticed that the camera lady at the wedding was super, super casual, standing in the front of the wedding. And I'm like, is that common for photographers and videographers to dress so casual at weddings? Because tell me something, because that looked a mess. I was like, she wearing flip-flops and just looked like a mess. I don't know. First thing he says when she makes it to the altar is, you're tall. Not you're beautiful or nothing. But if she would have burst out and be like, oh, and you're short, you're not going to find that as funny, are you? You're tall. Okay, what am I supposed to do with that information? Yeah, you're short. And she's in heels. So, be quiet. You're not LeBron James, okay, with the height. His family says during the vows, where the family gives their, obviously little description of what the spouse is like, the family says communication is not one of his strengths. And so we all have things we have to work on, right? I just think there's something just so unattractive and not cute about anybody, male or female, knowing that there are fundamental characteristics one needs to hold to be in a successful relationship, and just blatantly being comfortable with not having that characteristic. Communication is vital in relationships. Now, I can see if you're just so unaware that you think you're a good communicator, so therefore you enter relationships, serious relationships, because you think you are, and you just get it. You just really aren't. I could see that. But just to blatantly know you're not good at something that's fundamental to a relationship lasting for a long time, I think that is irresponsible. That's my opinion on that. I don't think that's cute. They're at the altar. They're not making any eye contact at all. They keep looking at the minister, the officiant. They're not making any eye contact. Even when they're repeating back their vows, they're not looking at each other at all. Even Kirsten and Shaq were making eye contact. And I think Gina and, what's his name? Dang it. Gina and Clint. Is it Clint? Gina and Clint were making eye contact. So, I don't know. I just think that was odd, and which I think also it's not odd. It's very telling of what their chemistry is already just at first sight, just off rip, what kind of chemistry that they are coming with, and it makes sense, honestly. So I'm actually not surprised at all. I cringe at the vows part because they're speaking from a fantasy. None of the words are true for the person actually standing in front of you. You know what I mean? The words are more for an ideal scenario. Plus, they're vowing from their representative. It's who they believe they'd be, and it's how they believe they'd feel if they were actually standing before the person that they truly loved. You're saying, I vow to this, I vow to that. You don't know. Those aren't true sentiments towards the person that you're actually standing in front of. You don't know this person to be able to vow all this fidelity and trust and protection and support and all that stuff. So it's like super cringy actually. I would prefer them just to do the generic vows in sickness and health, that kind of thing, and just keep it there. I think like I know when I get married to my man, like, you know, y'all know what I'm saying. Like when I write to him, when I write out my vows, they're going to come from the heart based on who I am in this moment in our relationship and the person whom I've been in a relationship with, who I know. You know, I don't know. It's not speaking genuinely. So I actually cringe at the vow exchange. He's the only child and he has the only child syndrome heavily. I'm with an only child. Whew. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. But you know what? You know what? This episode really showed me, as much as Eris is not ready for this experience, Jasmine's behind is not either. So technically they do make a good match. It's not like there's no way in which she's getting the shorter end of the stick in this scenario. Neither is he. They are equally yoked. They are both hot messes. Period. She has 4 dogs, which is already an issue to me. I think that's super selfish and a stupid decision to make. Dogs are emotional companions, right? So you're attached to these dogs. What if your husband is allergic? Then what? Like, this is like the dog is like a whole choice. If you knew that you wanted to be married, I feel the same way when people go out and have multiple kids without marriage. Same with dogs, same with kids. Why go stack up on something knowing you have an end goal if you don't, like, this is a whole stranger that you want to commit to you. You don't know. They could be deathly terrified of dogs. They could be, there's a lot of, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of baggage to come with. Like, can you even go on a trip? Like, if I want to surprise you for a weekend getaway, where do you keep your dogs? Because it's not like it's a cat that you can just give hella catnip and stuff and they can stay put for a couple days. Like, I can't even do that. It's just coming with too much baggage. And it's like, is it worth it? Like, I don't even know you. So, like, is it worth all this baggage and us trying to, then y'all got, we're going to get to it. Okay. Not only does she have 4 dogs, she has 9 puppies. And I'm actually, you know, I'm glad she finds it humorous, because that when they got to the reception, that's when she elaborated on the 9 puppies. I'm glad she finds it cute. It's not. It's really not. Like, at all. It's extremely unattractive. Ew. Like, so it's something irresponsible about that. And like selfish. It's like you might as well just be you and your dogs. Cause where's their space? The apartment gotta stink. Oh my gosh. 4 dogs, 9 puppies. Plus you gotta nurse the puppies. So what's your time looking like? Plus you have this opposite schedule of Aries. It's just already like, by the time we at the reception, it's already a mess. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad she found that like super humorous when they were conversing at the reception. Eric says owning all those dogs should be illegal. And I agree. I genuinely agree. You have 13 dogs. That is disgusting. Like, I'm not saying, like, for dog breeders and caretakers, all that stuff is great. For you coming on the show to do a blind marriage, no. No. That's like a lot. And the truth of the matter is, when you go to work, Aries, you are going to expect Aries to help in some way. Now, granted, you've been doing this, I'm assuming, by yourself while you've been single. But naturally, when you've been just like women, we can live alone for all this time. We take the trash out, yada, yada. Once a man and I are living together, you've been doing this the whole time by yourself. But now that you have a man in the house, you're expecting a little help on some of the things, right? You're going to want those pups cared for and helped. And I just think it's selfish. I think it's selfish and it's irresponsible to put that on somebody. You need to sell the dogs or wait till the dogs kind of grow a little old. But I mean, fact of the matter is, you shouldn't have got that many dogs. So you put yourself in this position, and it's kind of like it is what it is. Like, it makes you, in my opinion, like super ineligible, like, for this process. You got too much going on. Like, that's my opinion. So we're on to Dominique. Her friends are here for the ride and the turn up. Okay. They're really supporting her and gassing her up and just talking her up. And you know what? That's what you need, through this process. And I'm like, what does she really have to lose? Why not? Like, what does she lose? If the marriage doesn't work out, Dominique is 25 years old. And if I'm not mistaken, even if you get a divorce, it's like an annulment, right? It's not even like whatever. Like, it's an annulment. Is what it is. She get a cute coin, get some TV time. Why not? Right? She doesn't have anything to lose. So I'm glad that she does have like her friends there to hype her up. And just be there for her. One of her friends says she likes guys older, usually because she's so mature. Once again, y'all already know how I feel. I'm not seeing that side of her, but I am looking for it, and I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I'm technically not judging anybody too hard, but don't get me wrong. We see what we see with these people. Like, it is what it is. But people do have the chance to change our minds, right? So we'll see what Dominique is giving. I'm not seeing this mature side, but who knows? Because McKinley actually seems about her age mentally. So they might be equally yoked in that way. They probably mentally seem like they're about the same age. So she might actually end up being the more mature partner in their relationship. We'll just see. But so far on her own, no, she's not. Her mom is beautiful. She says she wants Dom's husband to be able to afford to care for the family in case Dom decides to stay home and be a stay-at-home mother, because she is ready for grandbabies. And fine, right? But Dominique is clearly the apple of her mom's eye. Like, that's just that. I love their relationship. I think their relationship is beautiful. I think Dominique is the type to win in life simply because of the type of support and community she has around her. She has a solid support system, and she seems very family oriented. Like, her and her mom are very close, and I think that is just like absolutely beautiful. Like, Dominique will be just fine with or without this process, especially when it comes to marriage. I do believe her mom is setting a great example for her. I do believe her mom is a little biased. Totally fine. That's her baby. It is what it is. But and I do think the mom is overestimating her readiness for marriage, but and Dominique does no wrong in her mom's eyes, totally fine. But we'll see about all this readiness and being ready for kids and all of this kind of stuff, because Dominique comes off a little childish to me, and not in a bad way. Let me not say childish. She comes off like a 25-year-old, and I mean, who am I? I'm 27, so I'm 2 years older, and trust me, Dominique is 25, and there's nothing wrong with her not being ready for marriage right now. McKinley has previously dated younger women without jobs. So it's great because he likes younger women. Dominique likes older men. Fine. That's totally fine. But the without jobs thing, I'm thinking, okay, McKinley, I'm getting a little different picture about you. I thought you were eligible, but now I'm looking like you giving me hobosexual. Hobosexual is what it's kind of giving me. I'm just a little confused. He said he was living in Minnesota with his mom. Then he moves to Tennessee to his best friend's parents' place. But if I'm not mistaken, on the first episode, he said he had been in Tennessee for 4 years. So, and then he said that the parents said that he could stay as long as he needed. So before you want to be there for 4 years. And he is, how old is he? He's like 30. How old is he? I don't know. He's like 34 to 36, somewhere in there, because she's 25, and he's like 34 to 36, somewhere in there, 34, 35, 36, somewhere in there. I don't know. Something about that is weird. Like, get a place. Like, why do you, and then it's like, it's not even like your parents. And I'm not judging. Like, I think it's great that he has a support system through his best friend's family. That's beautiful. But come on, like, I know people can say, oh, stay as long as you want, but you're not supposed to actually do that. You know what I mean? Like, they're grown, they're empty nesters, they got their, like, let them people have their own house. You're a grown up. Go get an apartment. Like, I don't like that. Like, that annoyed me. Dom's teeth are impeccable. Her smile is beautiful. The officiant's makeup was so light, and it was crazy because she's white. Like, she was a white lady, but her face was whiter than her. I was like, okay, that was like super noticeable. So now we're at Nicole and Chris. I like them. Okay, Nicole seems to have just enough spunk. Like, that, her spunk is gonna work well for somebody like Chris. And I think vice versa. I think he's gonna have just that nice, calm, relaxing nature that she's gonna need. That's the stable emotional side, right? So I'm rooting for them. At the reception, they seemed to chat along just fine. They talked endlessly, and she did notice it, that they both are very talkative. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's dope. Like, as opposed to like one being super talkative and the other not. Like, I think it's great because, yeah, okay, y'all might maybe overtalk each other, get a little excited, but y'all could grow through that. Y'all could learn to let the other person finish speaking and whatnot. But at least that can help with communication, and especially if you're comfortable already speaking and talking your mind and all of that. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. My man, our first date, we talked the entire time from start to finish. I don't know, I can't even tell you. We talked about everything for hours. And we still do to this day. We both can talk our behinds off. Hence why I'm doing reviews now, because I need somebody to talk to about these shows, because I can talk all day. So I don't think it's a bad thing. They enjoy kissing each other. They kissed a lot this episode, and I think that's a good sign. I think that's great. I love seeing when these couples come on here and they're just initially, they're attracted to each other for real, and they're feeling each other. Because I think if you're gonna do it, do it in a good mood, ready to really jump in and start a marriage. It's like, I understand that it's not for everybody, that a lot of people do want to come on here and take it slow and see what happens because it's a stranger. But it's like, go on like Love Island or somewhere else. Like, this is a marriage show, and I think it's totally okay to let yourself fall into that marriage and grow from there. Love is a choice, and choose your partner and be deliberate, and don't hold back. Go ahead, and this is your husband and this is your wife. Like, go for it. So I think it's great that they're starting to acclimate themselves with each other and get comfortable with each other and show affection. I think that's great, and it'll help make them more comfortable. And I think it's dope because with Nicole being so affectionate, I could see that helping Chris loosen up and lighten up as well. Because men, and a lot of times in this situation, don't know how to navigate with the woman. Can we kiss? Should we touch? Are we having sex? The first time? Are we consummate our marriage? It's all these things that go through their mind. They don't want to look like a butthole on TV. All these things. And I think her showing that interest will help him. And then it's also going to allow him to reciprocate and show that masculine side of himself, that side of him that does know how to take initiative and, show affection and be manly and court her and whatnot. So I think it's a good sign, and it can work for them. Gina and Clint are conversing. They're getting along, they're feeling each other, but once they start talking about relationships, they both laugh about the fact that this is their first marriage. She mentions that her most recent relationship ended 5 years ago, and ever since the relationship, she's been pouring into the business, and that's all she will talk about. So we need to cut that, Gina. Nobody, it's not that serious. And I don't like when people can't. Now, it could be editing, you know what I mean? But it did seem like she was talking about the same thing over, and it was like, it could be editing when I say this as well. But did you ask him about his job? Did he get as much? Did he get the chance to elaborate as much about his job? Because I think it's important to show interest when somebody is talking. If you're going to go that long about your own stuff, at least circle back and get the other person to talk as well. Don't make the conversation all about you. You need to be able to read the room. So we're going to see, Gina, are you self-absorbed? Because, baby, I had you front runner as the most eligible bachelorette. But if you can't read the room and you're not ready to really date, and the reason why you're single is because all you do is talk about yourself and your job, then we're going to have an issue here. And trust me, this is saying a lot, because Clint ain't ish either. Trust me. We already see those previews, so I'm ready. But we gonna see. I ain't dragging you yet, Clint, but it's not looking too good, okay? Shaq and Kirsten. Oh my gosh. Love them this episode. They're conversing at the reception. They're getting along, they're laughing, they're joking. The vibe is super good. And I love it. She was being receptive to him. She was seeing that he is checking off a lot of her boxes. She was like, okay, he's this, and this. And I love that she was seeing him for who he is, because Shaq is a handsome man. Every time that man smiles, I'm like, that's a handsome dude. His teeth are phenomenal. His smile, that's a strong suit. That's a great trait for a black man to have. Oh my gosh. Any black man can win with a beautiful smile like that. That's gorgeous. And I think she see it for what it is. What do you have to lose here, mama? He's a winning a winning prize, so long as his emotions and mental health are in check. We're gonna see. Given the, because I told you, Shaq reminds me of old boy. I cannot remember his name. That was a super liar. He was nice. He meant well, all that, but that dude was a liar. He was definitely not ready and was a gaslighter and a manipulator. But I am happy to see them getting along. This episode is so much better. She says it was off-putting that he didn't ask to kiss her at the altar, and I think that's interesting. I don't think that's such a bad desire to have, but I do think it's a little, cursing, for the most part, y'all are adults, like consenting adults. Y'all know your kiss at the altar, like, come on. Like, I don't think it's that deep, but that's her preference, so whatever. I just thought that was weird. I'm like, are you trying to just make little excuses here just to avoid kissing this man? Because we'll see. I want to see if Kirsten is actually going to grow attraction for him, because there is a difference between knowing a man is a good man and is all these great things, and he is attractive and all of that, but there's a difference between that and being actually attracted to somebody. Like, yeah, he's handsome, he got his stuff together, yada yada, but he's not for me. I got a good homegirl that would love to be with him, and they would be great together. You know what I mean? Like, every good man and every good woman aren't necessarily compatible. So I'm curious to see if she's feeling him because he's good on paper, technically. You know what I mean? For the most part, or if she's like actually growing an attraction to him, because you can grow attraction to somebody, like you could see him at a glance and be like, oh, he's not that cute or whatever, or he's not my type. But then, like, once y'all start talking and y'all conversations flowing and he's making you laugh and his voice, all these other things can play a part and be like, oh, you know what, he is kind of cute, so we're gonna see Kirsten. I don't know if you really like him, but we'll see. But I am rooting for them, and I really am excited to see their journey. The montage of all the families dancing and partying, it was really nice, but the montage part about the cake cutting and feeding each other was disgusting. It was like fingers all up in each other's mouths. It's like, when did y'all wash your hands? Like, whew, that was so gross. I literally could not stomach it. I had to stop watching. When the spouses were talking to their spouses' families, nothing too interesting happened except for a couple key points that I want to bring up here. Kirsten's friends picked up on Shaq's wordplay and charisma. I think that's really smart. I think that is super, super, super intelligent of them. And I know that Kirsten is going to pick up on it and take their advice as well, because it's clear as day. Shaq has mouth game. He definitely does. He works in he works in academia. He's definitely articulate and well spoken and all that, but we know how that can go. We're not convinced. Jasmine's friends, they can't say she's a good communicator, especially if there's going to be confrontation. So, you sure you're ready for marriage? Once again, this goes back to, I can see if you think you are a good communicator and you just got it wrong, and then you learn the hard way and now you have to improve on that. But to intentionally know something is lacking in yourself that is necessary for a successful relationship is, to me, irresponsible. So that's how I feel about it, period. Okay. So Jasmine also says her picker is off when she's talking to Eris' family. And I thought that was great, because she's talking to this cousin. And this cousin, she's picking, all the people on the show need a cousin like Eris's. She says her picker is off, and I also think that's super lazy and irresponsible being here. Because if your picker is off on your own accord when you're dating normally, so I guess instead of you saying, hold on, I'm picking these dudes, these are the kind of dudes I'm attracted to, and it's not working. Let the common denominator in all of our relationships is ourselves. So let me then take a step back, look at myself, see what I'm attracting, what I'm attracted to, what is it about me, yada, yada. No, I'm going to actually just go on a show for blind marriage and force the situation to work, so that my picker is validated in a way. Like, to me, it takes off all the responsibility on herself. Like, discernment is a like very underrated characteristic. You need, like, it's not enough. Like, if you have all unsuccessful relationships, you are a huge part of that. And if you don't have the discernment, and a lot of women, I believe, are afraid of their own discernment, which is why we self-sabotage a lot in relationships. That's my opinion. Sis, you need to be able to pick, like, get to the bottom of why your picker's wrong, because you're already coming into this saying your picker's off. Aries is not eligible. This is going to be a hot mess express, period, no matter what. So I'm curious to see how soon is Jasmine going to see this. We'll see her picker in live action. How quickly is Jasmine going to catch on to the fact that Aries is not ready, and neither is she, but let's just see how her picker works with him. The cousin notices her pageant answers, and I agree. And what she's saying about her stubbornness and needing to have things her way is her telling truly how she is. But I think when people do that, they think that I think when people tell, like, yeah, I'm pretty stubborn, I like things my way, but I'm working on it, I think they're expecting the person they're telling that to downplay those characteristics about themselves. So then it's easy for that type of thing to come up in an argument and make it look like they're using it against you. You know, like in an argument, if Aries is like, you're stubborn, and it's like, no, you're using it against me. It's like, no, you said it about yourself. It's true. Like, it's something that you noticed about yourself, and now I notice it. So now you can say it about yourself. But if I call it out too, like I'm using it against you, absolutely not. Once again, it goes to that ish is not cute. Knowing that you are, and stubbornness, a little here. I just, like, some things just shouldn't be said out loud, right? You know what I mean? Like, as if it's like a badge of honor, you know, or at least if you're going to say it, I think a little more accountability than just like the casual, but I'm working on it. Well, how? Are you in therapy? Do you have an outlet for getting through that? Was there a grave, like a extreme consequence that you were affected by that now gives you different understanding? Like, why? How are you working through this? So I don't like when people do that. Like, be a little more specific, because that's like a red flag. Like, you're stubborn, you like things your way, your friends say you're not a good communicator, you got 11 puppies. Like, it seems like you got like a lot kind of going on there. To me, that's just me. But Gina's friend asks Clint what makes him worthy for marriage, and I just felt like that was a little bit too aggressive. And I'm like, either she was super lit or she was attracted to Clint, because she was all up in Clint's face. I'm like, back up. Like, and they're asking all what him and Gina gonna do that night. I hate when people do that. Like, I think that maybe production has them ask that kind of thing, but like in a normal setting, like, that's super inappropriate. Like, I'm not asking my friend's man about anything sexual. That's weird. So I don't know. I think that's like a production play, because every time they do it, it's annoying. Nicole says she thinks Chris could end up being too nice. And when she says that, I think she just knows herself and knows how she can behave at times, because she gets all emotional and, oh, I just want to be this. Yeah, probably because you've been acting a fool in your other relationships. And now you meet a guy and you're like, I don't want to be like this with him, but you don't trust yourself to not cut up. So you're starting to kind of get a little scared. Because you don't want to come off like a brat on TV with this super, super nice guy, because Chris does seem that way. But mostly you know yourself. You know that you've been a trip. And now you really have a nice guy that you have the potential of sabotaging it with. That's what I got from that. So that was it. The episode was okay. It was okay. I'm excited for this season. I think everybody's come to play. Everybody's come to film. Everybody's coming to give. Everybody's going to give. Naturally, though, because they're all in their own ways extremely problematic. But aren't we all? All right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye, y'all.